Hello, everyone. My name is Emily, and I'm going to be speaking about the ineffectiveness of fair trade systems and how we can find reasonable solutions to the fair trade dilemma. So, I'm going to show you an example of cocoa plantation workers trying chocolate for the first time. They've been working off the Ivory Coast of Africa for 2 years now, and they've worked for up to 16 hours a day, and they've only made $200. So they don't really have the means to buy their own chocolate and taste it. And this is ironic because they actually work on a chocolate plantation. So here they are trying chocolate for the very first time. In order to alleviate this type of social and economic injustice, there was a social movement that was created in the latter portion of the 19th century. This is called the Fair Trade Movement, and its goal is to help producers in developing countries achieve better trading conditions and promote sustainability. In America, there's about 5 main organizations, and some are membership ones, which receive support and donations from the public, and some more important organizations are certification ones, which rely on a set of 31 pages of regulations and standards, which they refer to when they're certifying buyers in America and sellers in foreign nations. Some actions they take are setting price floors, which guarantee premium prices for sellers, and they reroute money back to communities to help build infrastructures such as schools and hospitals, and these standards also enforce sustainable and desirable labor practices. Within the fair trade system, there's actually a large variety of items that can range from fresh produce to textiles that are considered fair trade items. Food makes up about 60% of them, and it's actually mainly coffee and chocolate. So you can see here the composition of the food fair trade pyramid. So despite the fact that the fair trade movement has extremely good intentions on its own, the fair trade systems and organizations in practice don't really achieve its goals. So as I mentioned earlier, there's a price floor, which actually becomes a price ceiling because now buyers are less incentivized to create quality products and they focus on quantity because they know they're getting a guaranteed price anyway, and buyers don't really want to pay more than they need to. So also there's exclusive standards and regulations, so growers are unable to meet extremely strict certification conditions and they're left out of the race. There's a huge lack of participation from extremely poor growers because of fair trade's high certification and annual evaluation fees. So really, fair trade only helps the medium poor, and it leaves the poorest of the poor out of the competition. Here's Peter Giuliano, the president of Specialty Coffee Association of America, who's been a part of fair trade for about 20 years, and he recently backed out of it because he said it's not relevant and they're selling a different thing than they're producing. So he's saying they're not really achieving the goals of the fair trade movement. So now what can be done? We know that fair trade doesn't work, but are there other more effective ways to support social and economic justice? Well, there's actually 3 main solutions. We can start by giving them a hand up and not a handout. So that means providing communities to prosper without our continuous help. We can do this by educating them and guiding them, empowering them with increased land ownership and teaching them better agronomic and business techniques. Some alternative organizations and initiatives we can focus on are TechnoServe and Direct Trade. TechnoServe actually works in training people in the developing world to build more competitive farms, businesses, and industries. Direct Trade focuses on high transparency and a direct, secure relationship between the buyer and the seller. They also emphasize extremely high quality products. They kind of hold the same core values of the fair trade movement, but there's more of a connection between buyer and seller. That's why it's called direct trade. We can also encourage government policy reforms such as decreased tariffs and subsidies.